is the BS.
Welcome to the Audacy Check-In. My name is Jason Bailey, and as always, I've got an awesome guest, and I'm very, very excited about this because I promise you that is listening to this, you have not heard a more powerful song, not only by this artist and this band, but maybe in your entire life, which is saying a lot. So let's welcome to the Audacy Check-In, Aaron Lewis from Stained. Brother man, it's good to see you. How are you?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Good. Look, I love talking about music. I really do. And I love a song that you know when the artist, especially an artist like yourself that's been around for a very long time, a lot of times, and you know what I'm talking about, it'll be like, well, we're just going to put out an album. We're just going to get back together. I'm not saying you in particular. I'm just saying an artist in general. And we'll just throw it out there and hope that it works. We'll follow the same blueprint. From a personal standpoint, from a fan standpoint, I don't think I've heard a more powerful song than the fourth track off Confessions of the Fallen, Here and Now, that I've heard from not only Stained, but just in my entire life. This song is so powerful, Aaron.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Sometimes those feelings can be powerful.
So the video, the story of the young man and his father that has Alzheimer's, and it ends with a high note, of course, and I really encourage everybody to go watch the video. So there has to be some type of catalyst for the lyrics in this song, and do they match up with the story being told in the video? Is that a personal experience?
It's very interesting. You know, music, theater, television, it's art. It's all art. I wrote a song. That was my art. The song happened to be about my family, my wife and my kids. Mm-hmm. And I took that piece of art and I gave it to another artist and gave him no information. You go into a museum, there isn't a sign next to the piece of art explaining every brushstroke. There isn't, art is art. It's for the person that is consuming it. It's for them. Everybody sees things differently. Everybody hears things differently. So I didn't want to poison the well at all. So I just gave him the song. And his art is the video. He did an amazing job. And even though, it had nothing to do with the actual, the where the song was coming from, it made me cry. Mm-hmm. Like it choked me up. Mm-hmm. It's a beautiful, poignant video.
I was talking with a coworker of mine, and I was telling them that we were going to chat today, and he's got a past, obviously. Well, he's not obviously, but with you guys and the market that I'm in Sacramento. From what I understand, Sacramento was one of the first to actually help Stain get out there with a mud shovel and whatnot. But anyway, and I was telling him about Here and Now, and I go, this is what I'm going to tell my audience and anybody else that will listen to me. I know you're going to hear it a lot on the radio. I can see this being a big soundtrack song as well. Not that that's what you intended it for, but I want people to watch that video to hear the song for the first time, just because of whoever did the video. I'm like you, Aaron. I'm not going to lie. I teared up too. It was just so powerful because you can swap out Alzheimer's with anything that you have experienced personally in your life with a loved one. And this song speaks to it.
It's confronting age and death and losing your father. And I've never experienced Alzheimer's before, thankfully, but I know so many people have. Again, it was poignant enough to make me cry. And I have no personal tie to it. I can't even relate except to the point of wrapping your head around getting old. I'm 51 years old. I'm going to be losing my father at some point. I'm going to be losing my parents at some point. We all are. And it's facing that head on, and anybody can relate to it when you look at it that way. You don't have to get hung up on the details of it being Alzheimer's or it being anything else. It's confronting death.
There's a lot of bands, specifically Stained and you, Aaron, that have songs that speak to things like here. I mean, I have a feeling Here and Now is going to be that song for your audience and your fan base that they're going to approach you when they see you and tell their story. So we're at the beginning stages of that, but there's so many other songs. You know, Outside is one of my personal favorites. But do you remember like one of the most the one of those moments that a fan approached you, talked about your music and how it affected them, and a story that you'll never forget? Do you remember any of those, like one of those moments that stand out?
Yeah, it's not a good one though.
Oh,
There's so many positive ones. And it's funny how the human brain works, because it's not the most positive one that I ever heard that's the one that stuck with most. It's a negative one that a kid's mom came up to me, and the kid had killed himself playing Outside on repeat, and she wanted answers from me. I wrote a song about it. She wanted answers from me that I didn't have. I didn't write that song for that purpose. It was a it was a tough situation, and this mother was standing outside my bus and crying, and I still, to this day, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what I was supposed to do. I didn't know. It fucked up for a while. I'm not gonna lie.
did you ever get back in touch with her after that night?
It still triggers me. It still triggers me and me up just thinking about it.
Yeah, I'm assuming it
It's
does.
just a really up moment.
Did you ever get a chance to get closure with her?
No,
No.
no, no. It was just a. I don't even remember what city it was in. It has stuck with me and has haunted me since.
Wow. I can't
And it
imagine.
was it was 2002, 2003, maybe. It wasn't too long after Outside, because I mean, Outside was out. That was the song.
Yeah. That was a long time ago. I mean, you were a different guy then, I'm sure, just like the rest of us. Do you think that if that happened today, you would be able to have a different conversation with her?
Probably not. I still don't have the answers to
Yeah.
the questions that she wanted to know. Like, the kid purposely put that song on him, and it was like in his note and everything, that that song had meaning to his whole plan.
Yeah.
The biggest thing for me is that I didn't write that song for that. That's not. It was almost like it was a personal attack. It felt like I needed to be on the defense talking about it. It's getting me all up.
Yeah. Well, let's move on. I mean, and what I was going to say, when you reference something being negative in reference to any of the songs, as far as the feedback goes in that story, I appreciate you sharing that. And I'm sorry, I really am, but I appreciate the honesty. And I don't know if you check Stain's social media account, but now that Here and Now is out, it's reaching people, and it was interesting because you guys would repost it, and said, "This is why we make music." And even with the darkest of songs, or however you want to interpret your art and your music, people can take that and turn it into a positive. So the response that you guys are getting via social media is a positive, to what could be a negative interpretation, right? You know what I mean?
That's one of the amazing things that has that has really been a defining thing for my career, is that as much as I'm not known for being the guy that writes happy songs at all, and that's not what I've made a career on, but somehow it those those feelings and those things that I put into songs somehow do positive things for other people. It brings relief to other people, whether it brings relief to me or not.
Right.
That's
Well,
why I say a lot these days that I don't think I'm in control of this ride. I think that God has his hand on my shoulder and has a plan for me. And I'm just a passenger on this crazy ass roller coaster ride that I've been on for the last 30 years.
yeah. And
If you include 5 plus years that we struggled before we got a record deal.
Right.
It's been 30 years.
And for those that are thinking that Confessions of the Fallen are all just sad songs or whatnot, there's like I got to tell you, one of my favorite tracks on there is Better Days. I think that is a fantastic song. I mean, everything about it is great.
I will unashamedly say that it's a happy song. It's actually a positive
Yeah,
kind of a, you know,
hope.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, as crazy as it sounds.
there's nothing wrong with hope. Hope is a good thing, you know. Unlike
We all need some hope these days.
absolutely, unlike what Morgan Freeman brashed it in Shawshank, but I got to tell you, I disagree with Red. I think hope is a good thing, and we all should have it. You know. The hiatus
100%.
the hiatus that you guys had taken, was what, 10-ish years. So, and then you go and you do your solo stuff in the country music scene. Today, we see in the rock world a blend of country and rock. You see guys like Jelly Roll and Hardy, and it's all coming together.
I never thought I'd be battling it out for number one with Jelly Roll on the rock charts. I mean, let me just put that out there. I hit him up too. I sent him a picture when we flip flopped, and then we were at number one.
And did you know Jelly Roll prior to Jelly Roll blowing up? Jelly Roll?
I had heard about him, but no, I hadn't. I hadn't met him until I ran into him at a George Jones tribute concert that just happened earlier this year, and we just became fast friends after that.
How cool of a dude is that guy? Really cool, right?
He's genuine.
Yeah.
He's genuine. He ain't trying to be anything he's not.
Yeah. It's not, I mean, you tell me. Yeah, it's not like 20, 25, 30 years ago. People can still be competitive, but it seems like in the industry, there's an understanding of like, dude, that's great that you're number one, and it's great that we're number two, and maybe we'll be. It doesn't matter. We're just able to do what we love to do instead of having this ugly hatred for somebody that's in the same industry as you. It's not like that anymore, is it?
I mean, it was never like that for us. This tour that we just did with Godsmack back in the day, before either one of us had a record deal, we used to trade shows off, and we would go in their direction in Massachusetts where they had a bigger following, and we would open up for them.
Yeah.
And they would come over to Western Massachusetts where we had the bigger following, and they'd open up for us. And we did that for each other all the way up through getting both of us getting record deals.
Mm-hmm. But it seems like, this the crossover with the country. I'll get back to the country thing in a second, because my question, I guess, would be, what you did in the country music scene, and you put out some really good music, like great songs. You really did. I enjoyed it. I remember sitting there playing poker with some buddies, and he put on your stuff, and I was like, yeah, of course I had to be the guy. Like, yeah, I've met Aaron before. It's like that. I was like, good guy, that kind of thing. But did any of that time in that genre of music help you with this new album?
It's always been two very different processes. The country thing is kind of an anomaly where I think the most time I've spent on recording one of those country records was 36 hours. I think the last record was 18 hours. So it's like, nail it, move on. Half of my country records, the vocals are scratch tracks. I never even went back and redid the vocals because they were fine. They didn't need to be redone. So I guess I've learned that less is more.
That's a life lesson. That's not just a music lesson. That's a life lesson, right?
I guess the inspiring thing about this new record is kind of how it happened. Most people would assume that extra production value that you hear in there, the kind of the programming stuff and everything else, you would assume that was put on as layering after the fact. And in actuality, that is the skeleton of the song. That's how the songs were written. I got a bunch of ideas. I sat down with my buddy Paul, who's really good with his computer and with and doing that stuff. And we created time signatures of music that were made out of chopped up pieces of Mike's ideas that he had sent me. And boredom might have been a little bit part of it. The world was locked down at the time. So I I took these ideas, I chopped them all up into pieces, I made songs out of them, and I sent them back. I said, "What do you think?" And we exchanged and back and forth, and we got everything to a point where everybody was happy with the landscape that was laid out, and then everybody went in and did all their stuff live over what me and my buddy had created with programming.
Right.
So all that programming stuff that you hear in there, that's actually the skeletal structure of the song and not the other way around, as one would assume that it would be.
Yeah, I think maybe for the average fan, they're going, well, when Staind records an album, there's a and there's a B and there's a C. They just take out the B, keep the A and the C, and replace the B with something new every time. But that's not how that works. We had Mike on, and we, like for Lowest and Me, for the original single that was released off of Confessions of the Fallen. And I had asked him, I said, like, how does, taking a hiatus from, the band, I mean, the primary, Aaron's goes and does his thing. You have your side projects doing your thing to keep you busy and doing whatnot. I was like, how does that connection happen? Who texts who? Not that there was any heat there, but who texts you? And he kind of told the same story about sending the music back and forth, and it just developed.
Yeah, and that's a very, very different way for us as Staind to have approached it.
Mm-hmm. What is it that you missed most about being around the Staind culture? We all have groups of friends and projects or side jobs, different jobs. What is it that you missed over the past 10-ish years from it?
That entire circle of fans. I'm not circle of fans, circle of friends. All of my friends that I toured with for all those years, and our paths don't cross anymore. There's no, they just don't. The big festivals that we're going to be playing next year and things of that nature, that will be very enjoyable for me because I'll get to see a lot of people that I haven't seen in a long time.
Are you just going to go from bus to bus and knock on doors and be like, hey, it's Aaron, I haven't seen you in a while. What's up, guys? How you doing?
It's sort of. I just hopped from backstage encampment to backstage encampment.
So next year, you mentioned the festivals and stuff like that. Getting off the road with Godsmack, which is love those guys in Godsmack as well. What a great lineup there. But the festival stuff that you'll be doing next year, and then planning a Staind headlining tour, I'm assuming, possibly to go along with that.
Yes, we will be out to play big festivals and possibly a headlining tour next year.
Okay, excellent. Looking forward to seeing that. And Confessions of the Fallen, again, going back to the beginning of this conversation, for those that are listening or watching this here and now, I promise you, is one of the most powerful songs that you will ever hear, ever. It is such an amazing song, and it's so great to see a band like Staind, who's done it for so long, a certain way, still have the same passion that you guys have put into this album. So thank you from a fan's perspective for that.
My pleasure. Thank you, man.
All right, Aaron, we'll talk to you soon, and best of luck, and hopefully we'll see you soon. All right, man?
All right, thank you.
All right, brother, take care.
On 98 Rock.